Welcome back. I just made the video before. It's getting long, so I was gonna split it up. We have decided this year to pay by the pound. I'm looking for a paper. On doing stuff. And what we've done is, just for simplicity, we got a little Excel spreadsheet here. I know you can't really read it, but it pretty much, you put the ticket number in here, and this will be, say my name. Let's just say John up here is him, and everything on this sheet is what he does. And we'll do this for the week. This is 1 week, then next week you'll have another one. But on here we got cut. We pay if you cut it up. That's cut and grind and steak up, not tenderize or nothing else. You go get the tub out the back, you bring it in, you debone it, you cut all the meat up, you put it in the bucket, put it in the tubs, whatever, go on about life. You get paid 30 cents per pound. Tenderizing steak, that means somebody else cut it up, you got it, you run it through the tenderizer, and you bagged it, and you brought it over here to be sealed. And you took it to the seal room, you know, because the cut up room's over here, the seal room's behind me, behind this wall. And you dropped it off, somebody else sealed it. That's as far as it goes. You pick up any old steak pans, take it back, rinse it out, wash it out, whatever, and you're done. You get paid 30 cents to do that. Whenever we get it, if we ever get our building built where everybody's in one central area doing meat, the tenderizing is gonna significantly drop. It'll probably be 15 cents a pound, maybe. I don't know, it might be 20. But we're gonna knock probably 10 cents a pound off, because it's not really a full-time job, and a person can have 10 deer lined up and they can tenderize it. It does not take long. I can tenderize a pound of deer meat in, I don't know, a minute. So it's pretty good, you know. What does that come up to if you say 0.3 times 60? That's 18 bucks an hour, you know. You can probably make $18, $20 an hour at 30 cents a pound. That's probably undercutting it. It does not take me a minute to grind a pound of meat, but going from here to there, it's an unskilled job. You can teach a monkey to do it, you know, climb up there and put a piece of meat in, you know. Pays a little less, you know. And then we have grind. That means you take the meat that they put in a bucket. Our system is you put it in a tub when it's brought in. When it gets cut up, all the grind meat goes in a food grade 5-gallon bucket. We put it back in the cooler until the grinder gets ready for it. Then the grinder gets it out. They split the meat up into whatever and do it. The grind gets paid 30 cents a pound. The stuffer, they get paid 35 cents a pound. And the reason why I do that is if you stuff smoked sausage, it takes longer to do than grinding or cutting up or whatever. It don't take a lot longer, but it takes a little bit longer because you got to put the guts on, you know, the hog casing and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I don't care if it's hog casing, snack stick, bologna. Bologna goes fast, you know. Burger, it don't matter. We pay 35 cents. But we got that. I was trying to find the other sheets here. I don't know. But any which way, when it leaves there, I know what we're doing. Okay, it goes to smoke. Nobody gets paid to smoke. That's the office staff job. They get paid hourly, which will be me or mom, really. If we get real busy, we may have to hire somebody. But anyways, you get the point on that. We're not worried about that part. Then it goes into, once it's done smoking sausage or burger, whatever, you know. But we're gonna say sausage. You get it in there, you let the sausage cool off. Then we cut all our sausage up into 6-inch lengths, bun length, sort of like a hot dog, but you know, they're bigger, they're sausage dogs. People like it. We put 4, 5, 6 links in a package, seal it. It's about a pound. So you get paid 10 cents to cut the meat up. You get paid 10 cents to put it in the vacuum seal bag. Then you get paid 5 cents to stick the stickers on, and you get paid 5 cents to put it in the vacuum sealer and seal it. And then you get paid 10 cents to put it in the paper sacks, weigh it, and go put it in the freezer. And again, this is sort of unskilled labor. You can train a monkey to do it. If you can't cut something 6 inches, we got cutting boards that we've used and they're marked. You know where to cut. That's not hard. You got to keep your, every rod is a different thing of meat. It may be jalapeno and cheese from John, and it may be Hawaiian from Susie on the next rod, or whatever. John could have 3 rods. I don't know, but simplicity like that. We don't mix rods. One rod is for one customer. I don't care if they got 25 pounds done and 5 pound ends up there. It's on that 5 pounds on one rod by itself. Our rod's a whole 15, 20 pounds of meat. So usually people get between 10 and 15 pounds, and that's what we built for. But some people want more. And by doing that, we have realized that we are going to save ourselves some money. Last year, now we're in rural Mississippi, we paid $15 an hour for help. And you may say, hey, that's not a lot of money where you're from or whatever. I understand. You could live here and say that's not a lot of money. But the people we have, like when we told them that, they was like, heck yeah, we're gonna come work. Because a lot of these people was getting like $10, $12 an hour or whatever. They work in chicken farms, some was stocking shelves for Dollar General and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, and one reason why we went to poundage, it wasn't really to save us money. I didn't feel like we was ripping them off, and I didn't feel like they was really ripping me off. The problem was, I'd have these two people, and this person would say that they worked harder than this person doing the same job. Let's say cutting up. Cutter A said he was cutting up more than Cutter B. He'd get mad, I need more money, yada, yada, yada. Well, we could keep up with tickets and all. And let me tell you, neither one was hurting themselves. And I was like, well, next year we're just going to do by the pound and we're good. And it is done very well. One guy, he makes... he averages probably $14, $15 an hour for when he's working. And that's what I'm going off of, is when you're working. Because, hey, they may take a break every hour or two. Go out. We don't allow smoking, tobacco, nothing like that in the buildings. If you go out to smoke, you got to take your apron off, your glove off, all that kind of stuff. They may go out there and smoke, so instead of working 8 hours, they may only work 6. They're doing good. Now, if you count a whole 8-hour day, which we really haven't worked, we're only working 1 or 2 days a week. But, yeah, it'd hurt if they was doing that, because they might only make $12 an hour. But it's not that it's not the possibility of them making more. We had a lady, I'm gonna say that was 6. She stuffed, I'm gonna say she worked about 6 hours. We paid her about 150 bucks. That was one day. She made about $25 an hour. And we set everything up for people to make $30 an hour if they work hard. Like, just get in there and get after it. She come in stuffing. She stuffed, caught up with the grinder. She went and started sealing in there. I think she made 20, I don't know for a fact. She made like 20 bucks sealing. Then the grinder got far enough ahead of her that, because she'd stuffed some burger and all, and then went and sealed it and put it up, you know. But she did that. Then she went back in there and started stuffing, and she stuffed the rest of the day. I think they did about 400 pounds that day, and 400 times 0.35 is 140 bucks. So it was probably less than 400. It was probably 350 times 0.35. You know, $122, something like that. Yeah, that's probably about right. But yeah, she did good. Same way with a grinder. If the grinder gets in there, we need the grinder to grind at least 600 pounds a day. And if you do 600 times 0.3, that's 180 bucks, and you divide that by 8 hours, that's $22 an hour. If you grind 400 times 0.3, that's $120, and you divide that by 8 hours, you're making 15. So if you ground 400 pounds a day in an 8-hour day, you made $15 an hour. That's what I was paying them last year. But now they have incentive to do more, and they was probably doing 400, 500 pounds, something like that last year. I may have been making a little money off of them, not a lot. But like the cutters over there, they was probably doing $15 an hour. I'm not gonna lie. Both of them missed one day. I got in over there in 2 days, 4 hours one day, 4 hours the next day. I cut up about 40 deer. And if you just say 40 times our average of 25, that's 1,000 pounds. And you say that times 0.3, that's 300 bucks. And then divide it by, we'll say 10 hours. That's $30 an hour. But if it was 300 and it really was 8 hours like I was thinking, that's almost 40 bucks an hour. That's good. That's getting after it. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to come in and make good money. I want people to, this is seasonal work. This is from November to February. I want for the guy that I hired to, in the off season, go work for Joe's Plumbing down here, making $15 an hour, and he tell him, hey, when he calls me in November that the deer are here, I'm gone. And when he says, why are you gonna be gone? He's gonna pay me $40 an hour to cut up deer meat. That's what I want, $30 an hour, whatever is on them, you know. And the beauty of it is when they get done with their job, they can go home. They don't have to sit around to make hours. I'm not sitting here looking at them, talking to them, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. It's more enjoyable if some of them will sit around and all. And some will have to stay, like if they're skinning and all. And that's what we're going to do this year, too, is you're 9 to 6. If there's nothing to do, most of them can leave and go home, you know. The people who skin, help me do all that kind of stuff, I'm going to pay them $7 an hour from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. That's 2 hours. That's 14 bucks a day. Probably won't be with one person. When we get real busy, we may have 2 or 3 people. But it's not a lot of money, but it entices them to stay. And I say that too, like if we get real slow and they're caught up with deer, there's really no need to have anybody here. But if we did need somebody here to help get meat in and out or whatever, I would still pay them $7 an hour, you know, to sit around out here, plus pay them to do whatever else. Because if they drop a deer off, and most of the time that's the cutters that help get deer in and out and all. The sealers help get it out, but the cutters help take it in. And if so, you know, they can get the deer out the cooler and go ahead and cut it up and be ready for the next day. But it's not too often that we get slow and there's no reason. Plus, I got the sawmill and all that, and I usually try to keep my cutters the people that will stay and help me all year, some on and off or whatever. You know, we'll build feeders, shoot houses and all that. So if we get bad slow, I can leave mom here. We can run up there, and if somebody comes up, run back with a four-wheeler, you know. But I think it's going to be very beneficial, and I think it's actually going to save us money by paying by the pound instead of by the hour, because it gives them incentive to work harder, and they'll get more poundage out, and so on and so forth. So, and I don't have to fire anybody, you know, because production's low. If they feel like if they come in, they just in a crappy mood and they make $5 an hour, that's fine. And it's not my workers that I really have the issue with. It's people that you try out. And I tell everybody that you come try out, you got half a day. If you make it half a day and leave, don't look for a paycheck. We're not paying you, because this training time, this is a field between you and me. And that's the problem I had, was I had a lot of people that would come in and I would train them for 4 hours, and that's $60, and they wouldn't worth the $60. They cost me money. I could have just cut up 3 days worth of meat for what they was doing. And they was like, man, this really ain't for me, you know, or yeah, whatever, you know. I'm like, all right, you know, bye. But what we're gonna do is people's gonna come in on like Wednesday or Thursday, try out, and if they don't make it, ain't gonna make it, they got to come back by Friday to get their paycheck and work. And if they ain't working, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm not worried about you, you know. And that's the other thing is, I'm gonna say this, say it very harshly, but it's not actually how it's gonna work. But like, we give you 4 hours of training to figure your job out. Like, we'll help you. Like, say a person cutting up, we will help you cut up the meat, so on and so forth. You get the full money for cutting up for 4 hours. After that 4 hours, it's on you. Whatever you cut up is what you get paid. If you get paid $5 an hour, you get paid $5 an hour. If we have to sit there and help you do it, we're putting our name on the ticket. We're getting half the pay just like you are. So that's only fair. I'm paying for it the first 4 hours. After that, it is. Now, saying that, if you're in there, I'm in there cutting up, and you're like, hey, what do I do with this hind quarter? I'm like, you just do like this and show you, and we go on, you're fine. I'm not taking no money. That ain't what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about, like, you can't remember or whatever, and I got to stand over the top of you helping you, you're going to pay me half of what you make, because that's only fair, you know, because 4 hours you should get the gist of it, you know. And I mean, I can throw you stuff over on your table and be like, we can split it up, you know. You cut up all the steak until you learn how to cut up, do the hindquarters or whatever, you know, deboning and all that. And if you can't debone, don't know how to, and get the muscle groups out for the steaks off the hindquarters, then all right, I get 3/4 of everything cut up. You know, that's fair, because I'm doing most of the work, you know, because whenever I cut it off, I trim it up fairly quick. I don't trim it up perfect if I'm not cutting the steaks, but I'll trim it up. And that's the thing is, I've been carrying a lot of people and wearing myself out, helping everybody else, and I'm ready to get paid if I'm gonna do it. And I think this way we'll retain workers is the main thing. If I can keep people coming back year after year after year learning, especially like cutting up, grinding, stuffing and grinding is a little bit of a chore, but it's not that bad. But cutting up is the main thing of what people can't comprehend from one year to the next, of gutting the muscle groups and all. But it's not bad work, but it takes the most training, in my opinion. Sometimes it'll take a week for people to really get the hang of it and be able to make money. But I don't want to pay you $15 an hour when you're only producing $5 an hour worth of work, you know. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, that's on you. If they show good potential, I'll probably give them a little extra money, but I ain't giving a lot. Like, if they're doing $5 an hour, I might be like, well, here's, instead of paying them $50 this week, I'll give them $100, or I'll be like, look, I give you $50 on top of this, you know. But that's sort of it in a nutshell. if you got a deer processor or any kind of business, you might have a mechanic business. You might want to look into that. And what we did, how we decided another way on our money is, I said we can pay 30% to employees, and that'll give us, I'm estimating, a 10% profit at the end of the year. So if we do $100,000, we'll make $10,000. Am I off on that? Might be. We might break even. We might make 30,000. But I'll guarantee you one thing: if we make $30,000 off of it, we're gonna give them a bonus. You know, if we break even, ain't nobody getting a bonus. You know, type deal. But anyways, we'll see y'all on the next video. This one's done got real long, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Maybe this will help y'all with your deer processing, if that's what you're watching it for, or for any other business you got. We'll see you on the next video.